Oh, you guys wanted it. We're going to talk about it. Sig P365 and all the variations it's come in, or the little Glocks, the 43X and the 48. Which is better and why? If I had to choose only one, which would it be? We'll dig right into that in 2 seconds. This video is brought to you by my friends at Supervel, which means super awesome. That's my marketing pitch. Supervel Ammunition is the innovator in small arms ammunition. Supervel invented the jacketed hollow point way back in the 1960s. And currently today, they're still innovating with solid copper hollow points, and they just launched a freaking fantastic 223 long range round, which we did a video on, shooting that stuff well over a half a mile out of a basic carbine. You can check that out. But Supervel, why do I dig it? Because it's high quality. It's made by good people in the USA, Henderson, Nevada. Prices are fair. Shipping is reasonable. Shipping is quick. And the stuff is super accurate. Supervel, back in the day, Super Velocity. Today, super awesome. Go check out my friends at Supervel Ammunition. Now, we just wrapped up the S12 event. If my voice sounds a little off, it's because we just spent 5 days in Tennessee. And while down there, I want to share these people with you while it's fresh. These are all the folks that made that event possible. And I just want to read them off because I appreciate them. And without them, that event wouldn't have been possible. CCW Safe, fantastic people. Barrel Block, which is something we use in all of our classes. Go check them out. Raw Training Group. 18 Delta, Green Beret Medic, now a doctor. The Law of Self-Defense, Andrew Bronca. Tango Down. If you don't know Tango Down, you don't know anything about anything. You should go check them out. Colorado Craft Beef, delicious. Dry Fire Mag, excellent tool. Regiment Blades, if you can punch, you can use the Regiment Blade. It's the one, the only, the original. Anything else is a copy. Heck yeah. Supervel Ammunition, as we just told you. TA Targets, all the steel that you see me shooting over all the years is TA Targets. Fantastic stuff. Wilson Health and Performance, go check them out. Rob is in the middle of writing a book that is going to be a New York Times bestseller. Hat Point Targets are the plastic target bases that I use. Ignis Lux Coffee. Yeah, it's my coffee. It's delicious. You should get some. Boresight Solutions, my good buddy Ben, creating the finest fighting weapons. I'm going to show you some of those today. My buddy Z Durham, one of my main dudes and one of the instructors that makes that event possible. Instructor Z. Sproul's Wealth Management. Go check out Sproul's, making your money work for you. Tactical RX, all the iPro that I use and the iPro you should be using, made in the USA, good stuff. Awesome dude, innovating in the eye space for decades. Eagle Eye Ammunition, long range, high performance rifle ammo. Gunfighter Gun Oil, yep, my company. Excellent stuff. And Paul Sharp Coaching. Paul Sharp, good dude, awesome instructor. He's got a new coaching program that's available. I just thought I'd share those guys with you. And a final note on S12. The next one is open for sign up. We've only had it up for a couple of weeks and it's 25% sold out. That means that in just a week, and it's open for the next 10 months, it's already 25% sold out. There's an early bird rate, and I think that's why people are jumping on that. CarryTrainer.com if you want to check that out. Okay, my voice is trash. I don't want to keep talking. So, I don't want to keep wasting my voice. We'll start with the Sig P365. When this thing came onto the market, people were like, no way, dude. And then it caught on. I was an early adopter, not patting myself on the back. I saw it at SHOT Show, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. I want to check it out. If you saw any of the videos, I'll throw some links in the description to those videos that we did on these. I bought a couple of them. I broke them all. Firing pins and other parts that I'll talk about in this vid. I wanted to see how far could you run these. I attended Scott Jedlinski's class, Modern Samurai Project. I think I did 3 of his classes with these. We were some of the first people hosting his stuff up at the range. I say we, the range up by us years ago. In fact, his black belt standards, if memory served, a lot of that stuff happened up on the little range in McHenry, which is cool. Gabe White, Gabe White. I ran these in some Gabe White classes, 2 or 3 of those classes. And I bring those 2 classes up because those are performance-based shooting classes. Most of the other people in those classes, and it's not a contest, but most of the people in those classes are shooting not only full-size guns, they're shooting guns with dots, and really pushing performance. Neither of those 2 classes, or ultimately 5 or 6 classes, did I attend with modified guns. They were stock grips. They were unstippled, nothing done to them. In fact, the one I'm holding in my hand, the only thing done to it is that Ben did a little treatment. This is called his Razorback. It builds that grip panel up. This is the only one that's got any type of treatment done to it. All that being said, I love the guns. I think that they're really good shooting guns. There's some nuances. There's some nuances to them that after shooting 25,000 rounds through them, I started to really figure out. I've got tens of thousands of rounds through these. For 3.5, 4 years, it's pretty much all I shot. When I was teaching, this is what I'd show up with. And I learned a lot about shooting not only little guns better, but bigger guns. What do they do good? Let's start with that. Well, what they're known for, packing a lot of ammunition into a tiny package. And I don't care if you're talking about the original P365. I don't care if you're talking about the XL or all of the variants that came after that. Basically, they're all just, a different flavor of the same thing. It's a little tiny pistol with a lot of ammo on board. The trigger's easy to use, but it's somewhat spongy. There is no real noticeable break. It kind of just squishes through. I don't hate it. I know some guys hate it. A lot of guys that I think said they hated it were gun writers that are more into crisp 1911 triggers or built triggers. The trigger's not amazing, but the trigger is definitely workable and it's fairly light. The grip texture as it comes from Sig is not great, but it's workable. The sights, various iterations of them out there. These with the green glow-in-the-dark tritium are pretty easy to see. I don't hate them. I don't love them. They're very close to the Ameriglows that I enjoy and love. See these on the Glock, just so you can see them. By the way, all these guns have been cleared out beforehand. There's nobody behind the camera, so slow your roll. The controls are laid out in a way, so as we think about when a gun shrinks, I'm just going to show a Glock 19 for comparison. So here is a Glock 19, which is, when it came on the market, was considered a compact pistol. So look at the difference. There's considerable. If I lay them over each other, a Glock 19, look at that. If I come over here, it's significantly smaller, thinner, and smaller in all dimensions, right? When a gun gets smaller, there's less to hold on to. The controls get smaller, and as we look at it, like here's my grip. Look at my thumb. I mean, I'm like out to the edge of the gun. There's videos of me running these where the gun's, pretty much lined up with my thumb. As they get smaller and smaller, you might have to make some changes. If any of you have ever seen, I kind of teach the mag dump on these little pistols like this with the support hand thumb. The reason being, for many people, including myself, I have to completely break my grip apart, open my hand up so that the mag can fall free. So there's a lot of trade-offs. Tiny little gun to make it work and run it hard, where you're running 2 to 3 second bill drills, where you're running a second to a second and a half first shot to target. Not crazy stuff, not earth-shattering, but really quick stuff. You've got to do everything right, and it's really easy to fumble with these tiny guns, which is why you want to start looking at things like stippling, talon grips, etc. This one in particular, like I said, Ben Simonson, he added this material. Put it in front of my painting there, and you can see he added that material to make it thicker. And by comparison, here's the standard frame. You can see the difference, right? Let's see if I can. This frame this frame used to look just like this frame, and you can see the difference. But I ran this little gun with a stock slide on it and did very well with it. It's me saying the gun's capable of doing it. Very accurate at distance and close. 20, 30, 40, 50-yard shots. These little pistols, these little SIGs, are very accurate shooting little guns. By the way, here's the XL frame in comparison. Just slightly bigger, a little more to hold on to. The gun is built in a way that it will deliver rounds on target at distance quickly if you do the work. They're fairly easy to keep fed. They're fairly reliable to run when they're working. Here's the dark side. Every Sig P365 that I have owned, and I have somewhere between 6 and 10 of these in working order. You might be like, what? You don't even know? I have to strip parts off of them. It's hard to get parts. It's hard to get parts quickly. I keep some parts on hand. My nephew carries one. My lady carries one. I no longer carry one. You're going to find out why in a minute. But numerous parts break on these. Initially, the strikers there was a problem with the metallurgy of the striker. I think we're several years past that. That's been sorted. There was no emails or letters from Sig, send them in. They just waited till they broke and then you complained. I broke 2. Now there's a video where in class, it was actually, I believe, at one of Scott's classes that striker crapped out. And it was kind of funny because I had been hearing about it and it was like, oh, now it's me. You know, I'm tap racking and nothing's happening. So after like 5 tap racks, it's like, okay, let's clear this gun out and take it out to the table. And I detailed stripped it, and as soon as it came apart, yep, she's gone. There's another part that breaks. I'm going to pop this off. So if we're looking here at just the lower, there's a component in these guys that is called the trigger bar return spring. And when the gun goes off, so there is a bar that moves and connects the trigger mechanism to the rear of the action. And there's a spring that when the gun goes off, it allows this trigger to reset. Well, when that trigger breaks, or that spring breaks, no bueno. You can't reset the trigger. Rather, the spring won't reset it. Broke many of those. Not only I've seen students break them. I've seen enough of them break that I keep 4 or 5 of them in my range armorer kit so that we can quickly swap one and keep people going. I travel with a firing group for one of these. I just got this this firing group back, wherever it is here, another one I've got on hand, because I had loaned it to somebody because theirs broke in class. That one that broke was a friend of mine's. The actual trigger bar itself, the metal, cracked. Now that gun did not have a ton of rounds through it, a couple thousand. So I'm going to blame that on a metallurgy issue, and that's not a lubrication issue. That's just plain bad parts. I've got one of these that the front sight, the tritium vial, all that stuff just fell out one day. And here's where I'm going with this. These guns are built for a specific purpose. Train with them a little bit, put them in your holster, and carry them. They are not meant to be shot like we shoot them. I'll have people comment and they'll say, dude, I've had mine for 3 years. I've never had a problem. Have you put 5, 10, 15,000 rounds through them? Because if you have, you probably broke something. I'm not mad about it. They're just not built for that. It's kind of like taking your family station wagon or minivan and towing. It'll do it until you blow the transmission up or the transaxle or rear end or whatever. I trashed a minivan's transmission pulling a small trailer. The wind got too much, and all that resistance heated the trans up and smoked it. So I'm not against them. We'll come back to it a little bit. Let's take a little bit of a look at the Glocks. So I've got the 48 and I've got the 43X. It's basically the exact same pistol, but you can see that the 48 is going to help get a little bit more velocity out of the 9mm round. It's about an inch longer. See that? Other than that, they're basically the same pistol. Both of these have got the treatment from Boresight Solutions. Both of these have Ameriglow sights on them. Both of these have Apex tactical triggers in them. Both of them have been shot to hell. Both of them are very accurate. Why do I like them better than the Sig? Well, they have just as many rounds through them. I've never broke either of them. That's huge. I broke every one of the Sigs, and I have seen just as many Sigs break in class. In fact, the last S12 event, within 5 minutes, 2 Sig 365s went down, 2 completely different people, and it was just dumb luck, right? It was just dumb luck, but they crapped out. That's interesting, and it's worth noting. When this thing came on the market, people were like, oh, it's their answer. Yep. And everybody's like, well, why didn't they do a big boy mag? Why did Glock make a 10-round mag? Well, there's a reason. One of the selling points of the little Sig is that stack and a half mag where they're like staggered in there. It's not awesome. First of all, the magazines are like a king's ransom. They're like 40 to 60 bucks, depending on where you buy them. They rust like crazy. If they get wet at all, the Sig mags get very rusty if you don't dry them and oil them, which for that kind of money, that's as expensive as any magazines unless you're buying like a staccato mag. But for any kind of service pistol, polymer pistol, that's very expensive for a magazine. They're hard to load. Even with my strong man hands, they don't get softer. If they get dirty, they like to stick. They jam up. You've got to tap them on something to keep the rounds moving. When they're working good, they work great. If you're using the stock Glock magazines, they work flawlessly. So in comes some aftermarket mags, right? Palmetto State Armory makes a magazine for these. Of course, Shield Arms. Now, I have got all the iterations of the Shield Arms mags. I've had very few problems with any of them. I know there's some people that hate them. I saw Mike Pannone recently shared about that. Mike, the magazines he has have not had any issue. The only issue that I have had is if they get dirty. And by dirty, I mean if we're out in like fine dust. Dust gets in there, and because you're jamming, it's just too much stuff in a small space. You're trying to jam all of those magazines or all those rounds into that tight little mag, and you get a little dirt in there. There's not enough room for things to slip and slide, and that dirt binds stuff up. It becomes like, little boulders jamming the mags from the rounds from advancing in the magazine. Pardon me. Do I carry one of these with a Shield Arms magazine? I do. I've got a couple of them that I have used that have given me no grief. They're not getting dirty. They're inside of my shirt. They're concealed. Well, what happens if I'm going to take the odds, how limited the odds are of me using my pistol? I'm going to take the odds that I'm not going to end up rolling in some fine dirt. Any problem that I've had with these mags feeding, a tap rack will usually fix it. Now I'm sending that precious ammunition to the ground though. So at distance, if I had to make a long shot, I would choose, if you were at the range and you said, hey, I'll give you $100 if you could hit that target, I'm going to pick this gun up every time, if that's all it was. I can shoot the Sig much better at great distance than I can the Glock. And this is me. I'm not saying that's everybody's experience. I can shoot the Sig better at distance than I can the Glock. When it comes to ragged accuracy, I personally can do better with the Sig than I can the Glock. Now, what kind of accuracy are we talking about? A headshot at 25 or 30 yards is totally doable with either of these. It's just a lot easier for me The gun is more forgiving for some reason of movement in my hand. Part of that might be the way that the gun interacts with my hand. I don't actually know. I'm just telling you my experience. If you said to me you're about to get in a gunfight in 5 minutes, I'm grabbing the Glock. And now people are like, you're a Glock fanboy. Yeah, I am. And here's why. Because I see them break so little. Everything breaks. Every single thing breaks. I had to take a Glock. I had to take, actually this Glock, this is a Glock 19, to the tailgate at the last S12, take it apart and beat a shell casing out of the chamber. I'm thinking some dirt got mixed in there and it kind of locked in. Not the point. The point is everything can go down, everything can break, everything can give you grief. But by and large, these things cause the least amount of problems, and they're just so doggone simple to tear down and fix. It blows my mind how many people are like, F that, I don't want it. Is it because you don't want to look like a fanboy, or is it because you don't want to make the right choice? See what I did there? I phrased that in a way that you're wrong either way. It was a joke. Relax. If I'm coming off a little beat up, I am, man. That was like 60 something hours of just grind at the S12 event. I'm like happy, but I'm like, man, I need a nap. And I know people were asking about this. What's the difference between these two? Nothing. They don't shoot much different for me. I don't feel anything noticeable. There's slight maybe difference in felt recoil. Who cares? They don't really hide any easier. This one's slightly heavier, but I'm carrying them both in the same holster. The grip part is what's harder to hide than the slide part. But here's something worth noting. I brought out a 19. This one's also been sexified by Boresight. If you look at them from this angle, they're pretty much the same. When you look at them head on, so this is a 48 and a 19. The 19 is thicker, right? It's thicker. But other than that, I can hide one behind the other. They're basically the exact same. Look at that. Everything's lined up. They're basically the exact same friggin' gun. Do you see that? See that? So it begs the question. Yes, it's easier to hide this than it is this. But it begs the question, why don't you just get a 19 and then you can carry a 17 backup mag? Now I know you're like, hey, wait a minute, you tricked me. This video was supposed to be about Sig P365 versus the 43X48. Yes, it is about that. I'm just bringing it full circle. If we think about why we have these things, it's to win a fight. And this is a fight man or woman's pistol. You can, as my buddy Steve Fisher says, do work. You can do good work with this gun. You can hit a 100-yard target. You can carry 15 rounds. If you got a little stendo mag, you got 17. You can carry a 17 or bigger magazine for your backup that'll feed right in here. So you've got continuity with magazines when you're in the double stack Glocks that go a long way. Or why not consider a 26? A 26 is basically a little shorter 19 and a little shorter grip. And you can feed the bigger magazines in. And yes, this one has been sexified by Boresight Solutions. God, this one is great. These have Tango down slide lock levers on them, Tango down mag releases, Ameriglow sights, Apex triggers and trigger bars, and they're just nice, man. They're just nice. Listen. Delish. Why am I saying this? Why am I suggesting considering full-size guns? And these are not full-size. This is considered a micro or subcompact. This is a compact, right? That we just keep making them smaller and smaller. We just finished this class up this past week. We got 42 shooters on the line. I do this stuff day in, day out. So I am exposed to a lot of people with a lot of tools, shooting a lot of different stuff. The smaller and smaller the gun gets, the harder and harder marksmanship gets. The easier it is to conceal, That's great. You've got this trade-off, though, of a loss of the ability to manipulate the magazines, manipulate the components of the gun, and do the shooting. So consider why it is you're choosing the little guns. First of all, if you're new to shooting, I suggest getting a full-size gun first. Develop the mechanics of marksmanship until they're pounded in. Then, and only then, move on to a tiny gun. It'll make it easier for you. It's also a lot safer. Those little guns, especially, when we start getting this small, it's very easy to get hands towards the business end. It's very easy. This gun, from a drop safety perspective and being carried on the person, I'll take the internal safety mechanism of the Glock any day. Now, I'm not anti-SIG. This is the second or third time I've said that. They just don't do it for me in the sense of reliability, repeatability, overall safety of the design, cost for components, availability for maintenance parts, replacement parts, consumable parts, etc. Other than that, it's great. This, I feel like they're even cheaper to buy. Parts are plentiful. Reliability is as good as it's going to get in the firearm world. There is no more reliable pistol than a Glock pistol. I don't care who you are. If you're special operations guy, if you're the greatest shooter in the world, you can't argue the statement I just made. There is no more reliable pistol than a Glock pistol. The only pistol that's more reliable is one that never leaves the safe. So the purpose of the video, I wasn't going to tell you, buy Glock. People ask, compare them? I'm comparing them because people are like, why are you back to these? I was shooting 92 Berettas for a number of years. I love the platform. I've been a fan of it for decades. My friend Les Keys Martoni won national title with it. He was actually a Glock guy when I met him, by the way, shooting a 40 cal Glock. But shot the Wilson Combats when they first came on the scene. I shot the Langdons and shoot the Langdons for years. Ernest and Amy are good friends of mine. They're amazing guns. There's just a lot going on with them. I can take these Glocks and I can sit at your kitchen table or on your tailgate, and with almost zero tools, I can take the gun completely apart and put it completely back together again. You can't do that with most of these firearms. And the parts are all available. So, synopsis. Make the choice based on your needs. If you're not going to shoot a lot, if you're not in an area that's prone to a lot of dust, if you have pretty good shooting skills, grab one of them little SIGs. They'll be fine. If you shoot a ton, if you live in a dusty environment, and this is not this plus this plus this, I'm saying any of these things could be a detriment. If you're going to shoot a ton, you're probably going to break these SIGs. If you live in a dusty environment or train in a dusty environment, you're probably going to see them jam up. If you live in a wet environment or you train in the wet, make sure you clean and oil the mags. It's disgusting to me how rusty they get. I'll have to look a couple pictures up and post some pictures. The Glocks, it's Glock. I can't say much else about it. Ben from Boresight Solutions, I can't say enough about how good his work is. His motto is built for the fight. That's for a reason. Rick Callahan from Ameriglow Sights pretty much invented this style of sight, copied by everybody else. They're fantastic. A made in the USA product. Tango Down. Anything from Tango Down is badass. Jeff Cahill, loves making things in America and making quality. Apex Tactical makes dynamite quality stuff. You can visit the video that we did here on YouTube visiting Tango Down, visiting Apex, visiting Boresight Solutions. And of course, guys, as I told you at the onset of the video, check out Supervel Ammunition. This is Mickey with CarryTrainer.com. I hope that the video was informative. I hope that we talked about some things that might spur some juices. If you got questions, put them in the comment section. If you got your own opinion and you disagree with me, put that in the comment section. We'll have a little discussion. How many rounds have you put through these things? How much have you shot them? Tell me about your experience. Tell me what you like, what you don't like, and maybe we'll see you guys out on the range. The next X12 is open for business. One more time. by Super Bell Ammunition. I need to let my voice rest. Peace. Oh, hey. What you doing, chef?
Burgers.
Ooh.
Sliders.
Sliders?
Sliders.
Let me see you do that again.
Sliders.
Sliders. Some Colorado craft beef. Looks like I see some sea salt on there and some pepper. Ew.